Hungry Snacks Meals in the building.
I wasn't even thinking about me being on the show. I wanted to produce something for them.
Cool celebrity. Like if I went to the mall and stuff, people were like, oh.
The thing was, I didn't even know that anybody ever thought I was ugly.
We look like twins almost.
Okay.
She really wouldn't be
Covering any more subjects related. So that's why you got the raw reaction. This is pathetic. It's pathetic.
Okay, welcome back to the Sweet Pea Diaries. It's your girl Sweet Pea, and I'm back with another video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new subscriber, welcome to the Sweet Pea Diaries. Be sure to like this video, share the video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel. All right, so you guys know what we are here to do. We are here to get into some things. This is a highly requested video. It is a highly requested live. I purposely stayed away from this topic because, you know, it's very sensitive. There are very sensitive moving pieces. It's a lot of moving pieces to this story. So I purposely stayed away from it because I did not want to offend people, and because it is such a hot topic and it gets people emotionally charged. So I purposely stayed away from it. All right. But I have been getting a lot of requests. A lot of people have been asking me, they want to know about the case. They want to, they want me to break it down. They want me to, get the court docs. So I said, you know what? We stand for Jen. We stand for victims. We believe Jen. So why not? Why not? So we're going to have a couple ground rules. I'm going to lay it all out. I'm going to lay out a couple ground rules before we get started. And before we get started, I'm going to let people know right now. We are not going to be, I'm not dealing with any trolls. The mods are going to block you immediately. I'm not dealing with any disrespect because we do not know these people. We don't know Nicki Minaj. We don't know Kenneth Petty. But one thing we do know, there were laws broken. There were laws broken, and we're going to talk about it. Now, if you're triggered by this subject, if you don't like this subject matter, then you need to just excuse yourself. You can come back at a later time for another video, for another subject, and no one will hold it against you. But the disrespect, the mods are not going to tolerate it. So I'm telling you right now, if you like being a part of this platform, if you like my material, if you like my videos, you are more than welcome to stay, but you're not going to be disrespectful. If you're disrespectful, you are going to be blocked. You're not only going to be timed out, you're going to be blocked, and you're not going to be able to look at any of my content. I'm not dealing with it. So I'm letting you guys know right now. All right. We already had one person that got put out, and we haven't even started yet. So I'm just letting you guys know you will be put out. We're not going to tolerate the disrespect because what we're here to do, we are here to go over this case. There are people that really want to know what it means, what the docs mean, what's going on, what's the status. There are people that really want to know about it. And they ask me to give what it gives. They ask me to make it do what it do. Sweet Pea, can you go over this? So that's what we're going to do, okay? So we all know what this is about, all right? Now, another thing, I'm going to just say this. I am not a barb. No, I'm not. But I am going to lay out the facts. I'm going to be biased. I'm not giving my opinion, what I think Nicki, what I think Kenny should do. This is not about my opinion. This is going to be the facts. This is going to be under the court of law what is happening. This is not my opinion. This is not my mod's opinion, my subscribers' opinion. This is specifically, we're going to stick to the facts, the court docs. That's it. Okay? All right. So let's get started. All right. Now, I'm going to use an article from Complex, the blog, okay, to give context to the story, to how we got here, how we got to the point of Jennifer suing Kenneth Petty and Nicki Minaj, okay? We're going to use that as background, all right? So we're going to read that article, and then we are going to build the video up with the court docs, all right? So let me just shout everybody out really briefly. Miss Garner for president. Hey, my mod Monica, my mod Alice Morris, Latoya McDowell, Netta 24, Pretty Brown 1. Of course, my girl Queen of Harlem is in the building. Miss Magic Podcast, Netta 24, AT2, and my mod Shay Bay. Hey girl, Jasmine Barnes. So we got 47 people and it's building, and you know, this just shows you that this topic, there is a lot of people that want to know about it. So because I do the court, you know, I cover the case with Tasha K, a lot of people respect what I have to say as it pertains to court documents. So we're going to use those. We're going to talk about this case, and we're not going to, you know, we just going to keep our opinions and how we feel about it to the end. Okay, but so we just gonna jump right into it. All right, so let me get this article, and then we're gonna build off of that. All right. All right. So Nicki Minaj's husband is facing another legal battle, but this time he's the plaintiff. TMZ reports that Kenneth Petty is suing the state of New York and its Criminal Justice Services Department over his inclusion in the state's sex offender registry. According to court documents reviewed by the outlet, the 43-year-old is seeking to have his name removed from the list because he never got the chance to challenge his level 2 sex offender status, which requires him to be registered for life. Petty says he wasn't notified about a court hearing regarding his classification, as the notice was allegedly sent to a residential address while he was behind bars. He also points to a document that indicated he would not attend the October 2004 hearing. However, he claims the Kenneth Petty signature on said document was forged. The plaintiff says state officials failed to properly handle his case, and he was therefore stripped of his constitutional right to due process. He claims the failings caused him humiliation and financial loss. It's unclear if he is seeking monetary damages or strictly looking to have his name removed from the registry. News of the lawsuit comes just days after Petty's attempted victim sued him and Nicki Minaj over alleged harassment. Jennifer Hough alleges, or I think it's Jennifer Hough, alleges the Queen rapper urged her to recant her sexual assault allegations against Petty and even went so far as to bribe her. The survivor is suing the couple for intentional infliction of emotional distress, harassment, and witness intimidation. Okay? So, a lot of people say, well, Sweet Pea, why are you starting there? I'm starting here because this is the basis for this lawsuit. Kenneth Petty was convicted when he was underage, okay? His argument is that he was 15, 16 when he was convicted of the R word. And he basically didn't have the right representation. He didn't have the right attorney. And even while he was incarcerated, someone forged his signature on these documents. So this is what he is trying to allege, that he should not be on the registry because he was denied his fair, due process. He was denied due process. He never got the chance to challenge the level 2 S offender status. And he didn't realize, basically, that he was going to have to register for life when he just pleaded guilty, took the plea deal, and went on about his business. Basically, that is what this is saying. Kenneth Petty is saying, I was a child. I didn't know any better. I was encouraged to take the plea deal. I took it. I really wasn't guilty, but I was encouraged to take it so that I could just get on with my life. However, when they sent these paperwork to my house, I was already incarcerated. So whoever signed this, it was not me. The document was forged. He also points to a document that indicated he would not attend the 2004 hearing. So there was a hearing where his classification status was going to be evaluated in October of 2004. And allegedly it was sent to a residential address that was not his, where he was residing. He was behind bars at this time. So he's saying that they were saying on this document that they signed on behalf of him that he would not attend the hearing. Well, the question that I have about this is, usually when you are incarcerated and you have a court hearing or you have something coming up, the powers that be, the jail, the parole boards, the people that run the penal institution, they are aware of where you are. They are aware that you are locked up. So I don't understand why something would have been sent to an address and they didn't know that you were locked up. That doesn't make any sense to me, because if you were a S offender and you are required, they need to know where you are at all times. They knew that you were incarcerated. So why would they send the paperwork to an address knowing that you were incarcerated? So that doesn't make sense, that he's saying that they didn't know where he was. That doesn't make sense to me, because if you are an S offender and you're required to register, that is part of your plea deal. They absolutely knew where you were because you were incarcerated. Whenever you are in the system, you're on parole, you're on probation. Anytime you're locked up, your parole officer is notified, your probation officer is notified. So while, it may sound like that's a way to get over, that's not going to fly with the state of New York, because the penal institution, they know where the convicts are. Okay, so that is, I have a little issue with that, but we'll get more into detail with that later. All right. So we understand that Nicki Minaj, she gets with Kenneth Petty. All right. Kenneth Petty gets with Nicki Minaj. And all of a sudden, Nicki Minaj starts using her star power, her financial status, and now they want Kenneth to be off of the registry. They feel as though he was not given a fair shake as a kid. He didn't have the right representation. So now that he's married to a multimillionaire, why not use her power, her standing in the community, and the money that she has to now get him the proper legal representation? So that's where we're at now. It takes us to, he's married to Nicki Minaj and decides that he can move to California and not register as an S offender. So beginning on or about July 14th, 2019, and continuing through on or about November 15th, 2019, in Los Angeles County within the Central District of California and elsewhere, defendant Kenneth Petty, an individual who was required to register pursuant to the S-Offender Registration and Notification Act as a result of being convicted of attempted R-word in the first degree in violation of New York Penal Code section, and then it just gives the section, a felony on or about April 5th, 1995. So that is when the actual conviction date of the R word, it was April 5th, 1995 when he was found guilty of this felony. After having said conviction, he traveled interstate commerce, knowingly failed to register as an S-offender as required by SORNA. All right. So this is what he is now being indicted for by the US of A. That because he is an S-offender for life and is required to register, because he is now married to Nicki Minaj, he's been registering all these years, since 2004, since 1995, should I say, and then 2004 when they sent the paperwork so-called to the address that was allegedly sent to the wrong, he was in jail and somebody forged it. But because he never showed up and nobody ever, so now he's saying, oh, well, I didn't know that they sent this to me and I wouldn't have waived my right. I would have. No. You knew, they knew you were in jail. None of that means anything. Whether you were going to have a hearing about your S-offender to remain on the registry, whatever. You knew that you were supposed to register. You felt that because you were with Nicki Minaj and you wanted to travel to California, you felt that you didn't have to let these people know. I don't know what got in his mind or what got in Nicki's mind, what made them think that he was going to be able to go to California, not register, and no one not know that he didn't register as an S-offender. Period. I mean, I believe that Nicki was thinking, oh, because this is my husband now, and I have money, we're going to use this as a moment to use my money and my star power to get him off of this registry, because they knew that behind the scenes they were doing and they were partaking in witness intimidation. They were, threatening Jennifer, which we're going to look at those documents next, because this is the story. This is how it is going. Give me 1 second, guys. I see this person's comment. Give me 1 second because we're going to address the whole thing. That this is a 30-year-old case. We're going to address that, and I'm going to ask that people be respectful, because if that is your true question, I have a perfect answer for that. Give me 1 second. I got to take my allergy medication, because if not, my nose is going to be stuffed up for the rest of this recording. So give me 1 second. Okay, I am back, guys. All right. So we're going to answer the question of this happened 25 to 30 years ago. All right. Yes, it did happen 25 to 30 years ago, but we would not be here in this moment. This would not be a thing. Jennifer would not be suing if there was not any intimidation, any harassment, if she had not been being harassed by Kenneth Petty and Nicki Minaj. It has nothing to do with whether or not this happened 25 or 30 years ago. She is not arguing that this did not happen 25 to 30 years ago. No one is arguing that. What is being argued is that when you are convicted of the R word and your sentence is that you are required to register as an S offender for the remaining of your life, that is what you are required to do. No one is arguing the fact that this did not happen, did this happen. No one is arguing that. What we are arguing is that if this is you were convicted and your punishment is that you are required to register as an S offender whenever you go from one state to another, whenever you move into another neighborhood, you are required to register with that state. That is what you must do. You don't get to get married to an international celebrity and now want your name removed from the registry because you want to be able to travel with her. You want to be able to go to the clubs. You want to be able to now be able to be around kids because you want to be able to take your son to school. You were not thinking of these things when you were a criminal, when you were living the lifestyle of zoo and you were intimidating people. You're convicted of the M word. You've committed all types of, M's and crimes, and you've done horrible things in your past. Yes, a person can be reformed and they're entitled to move on with their life. But it wasn't giving you wanted to be off of the S registry before you were married to Nicki Minaj. When you were not married to Nicki Minaj, you were running around. You have all of these different mugshots from all of the criminal activities that you were taking place with. All of the things that you were a part of. You weren't worried about being a part of the S registry. Whenever you moved, you registered. So when he got with Nicki Minaj and Nicki Minaj married him, she does not want to have to stop and tell somebody where they moved to and have her address, because I have her address. When I'm looking up these documents and I did the research, I have the address to where they were served. So Nicki Minaj doesn't want her information out there. She don't want people knowing where she lives. She doesn't want her husband to be on that registry because she doesn't want her information out to the public. Do you really think she cares whether or not he has a past or a criminal history? No, she just doesn't want her information to be exposed to the public. Period. So it seems to me that all of the people that are partaking in the intimidation, the witness tampering, the witness intimidation, trying to harass Jennifer, we would not be here if it wasn't for that. Jen wants to just be left alone. And they're really taking this serious. So there's a lot of people out there that are saying, what do they gain? Who cares? They don't want him to be on the registry. They want him to be able to travel. They want him to be able to take the baby to school. They want him to be able to be around children because they're going to be around all types of people. So they want his name removed. So they're trying to use all different types of tactics. That's the job of lawyers. That's the job of high-powered lawyers. So now their argument is going to be, oh, he didn't get a fair shake when he was young because he was a young minority. He didn't have any money. They railroaded him. So now that he has money, he's got a powerful wife. We're going to use our money to get these powerful lawyers that are going to argue things that probably are not true. Because why now is it such a big thing? Why now does he need to be off of the registry? Every time he moved in all of these years, he registered as an S offender. So when the people argue that this took place 25 or 30 years ago, we're not arguing that. We are not saying that it didn't take place 25 to 30 years ago. I'm challenging you to really listen and stop just wanting to argue and stop just wanting to be a barb and not listen to reason. If this was you and you were an R victim, this person was convicted of R'ing you, and now they want to be off of the S registry. They want to put other people in danger because of their selfishness. If you are a reformed citizen and you took your punishment, people are saying, well, he did his time. He paid for the crime. Yeah, well, he paid for the crime by being in jail. But the rest of the punishment is that you register as an S offender for the rest of your life. You don't get to make up when you want to register and when you don't. The punishment is that you register for the rest of your life. Period. Now, what is gin suing for? This is what people want to know. What is gin suing for? Well, here is Jennifer's lawsuit. Jennifer Hough brings claims for witness intimidation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, harassment, assault, battery, sexual assault, and sexual harassment against defendant Kenneth Petty and defendant Nicki Minaj, collectively known as the defendants. Plaintiffs' claims include, but are not limited to, witness intimidation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, harassment, assault, battery, sexual assault, and sexual harassment by the defendants. Plaintiff seeks to hold defendants liable under various legal doctrines, including without limitation, vicarious liability, strict liability, respondent superior, aiding and abetting liability, and other grounds. This court has personal jurisdiction over defendants under and consistent with the constitutional requirements of due process, and that the defendants, acting directly or through their agents or apparent agents, committed one or more of the following: the transaction of any business within the state, the making of any contract within the state, the commission of a tortious act within this district, the ownership, use, or possession of any real estate situated within this state. The court has supplemental jurisdiction over plaintiffs' related claims under state and local law. Basically, what this is saying is that the jurisdiction and venue, it's saying what the court has jurisdiction over. And it's basically saying that the court has jurisdiction over the defendants, which is Nicki Minaj and Kenneth, and any business that they have, any contracts, any makings of in that state, any ownership or possession of any real estate, anything that they own, any businesses, anything, they have jurisdiction over it. The court has jurisdiction over it. The plaintiff is a resident of Florida, while defendants are both residents of California. Plaintiff felt the bulk of defendants' action in the states of Georgia and New York. Damages far exceed the $75,000 threshold for diversity jurisdiction. Now, the parties that are involved, it's basically just stating that Jennifer Hough is the party. So it says, Hough is a resident of Florida and was a resident of the state of New York at 16 years old when R'd by Petty. Hough is currently 43 years old. I'm going to just say, for the sake of this video, I go back and forth between Hough and Hough. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to say Hough. Petty is a rapist, a registered S offender, a level 2 sex offender, and pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter following gunfire that resulted in the unnecessary death of a young man. According to Petty's sex offender registry, he was born April 7, 1978, and is currently 43 years old. Defendant Onika Tanya Mirage
Petty, Nicki Minaj, is a Trinidadian-born rapper, singer, songwriter, and American actress. Defendant Mirage and Petty were married on October 22nd, 2019, as reported on Defendant Mirage's online social media. Defendant Mirage and Petty are both residents of California. Now, facts common to all causes of action. Plaintiff knew Petty from their childhood neighborhood of Jamaica, Queens, New York. Okay, so it's Hough. All right, we're going to use Hough. Okay, so it's Hough. All right, it's Hough. Plaintiff knew Petty from their childhood neighborhood of Jamaica, Queens, New York. Plaintiff was never in a relationship with Petty and simply knew him from the neighborhood. Plaintiff has never personally known Defendant Mirage. In violation of his 1994 plea deal, Defendant Petty failed to register as a sex offender in California. Defendant Petty faced criminal charges in California for failure to register as a sex offender and has since taken a plea deal for failing to register as a sex offender. Now, did you not hear that? See, this is why you have to read court documents, okay? This is why you have to read court documents. He has since taken a plea deal for failing to register as a sex offender. So the court case that he has against him for not registering as a sex offender with the state of California, he has taken a plea deal, which we don't know about that yet. I looked for the documents. I cannot find them yet, but as soon as I get those, I will show them to you. All right. So all of the barbs and all of the people that are saying he didn't do this, he took a plea deal for that in 1994, and he has also taken a plea deal recently for failing to register as a sex offender. In violation of his 1994 plea deal, Defendant Petty directly and indirectly intimidated the plaintiff not to speak out concerning the rape she experienced at the hands of Defendant Petty. In violation of his 1994 plea deal, Defendant Petty directly and indirectly threatened the plaintiff not to speak out concerning the rape she experienced at the hands of Defendant Petty. And now the reason why I'm pointing out, even though I know that he pled guilty to it, I saw the court document, we have that one, and I saw it in the press. But the barbs and the fans of Nicki Minaj and the people that try to twist this narrative will have you believe that Kenneth Petty does not want to be on the sex offender list. He did not plead guilty to this. He did not take a plea deal. This is currently being fought out in court. He's going to go to court and he's going to beat it. And Jennifer's going to be the one looking stupid. And Nicki and Kenny didn't do no wrong. They will have you believe all these things, but that is not true. The man pled guilty to it and he took a plea deal. Period. So how can you get his name removed off the sex offender registry if he pled guilty? How can you have him removed off of the list, off of the registry, if he pled guilty and took a plea deal? How? So this is why I ask and I challenge people to read for themselves. To read for themselves. He can live a normal life. He absolutely can live a normal life, but he needs to register as a sex offender. Because that's the repercussions of raping someone. He needs to register as a sex offender. That's part of his plea deal. That's part of the punishment. No one is saying that He can't live a normal life. He's been living a normal life. Ever since he got out from doing this crime, he's gone on to manslaughters. He's gone on to other violent crimes. He's in and out of jail. He's a career criminal. So when people say that he wants to live a normal life, he wants to live just like any other black man, definitely. And he deserves to live a normal life, but he got to register as a sex offender. That's part of it. You don't get married to Nicki Minaj and you just forget all about that. You just don't get to get away with it. But what I don't understand is, how are you suing the state of New York and saying that you didn't get a fair shake when you were young, you didn't know what you were doing, you didn't get fair counsel? But then on the other hand, you're pleading guilty to it and you took a plea deal to not registering as a sex offender. If you've been doing it all these years, you've been registering all these years, what's so big about it now? What's the big deal now? So if he wants to live a normal life, he should be able to live a normal life. What is normal? What is living a normal life? What does that mean? Oh, that he gets to go on and act as though this never happened, like he never did it? He could have lived that way if he was not tampering with the witness, trying to get her to recant her story. You cannot try to get someone to recant the story just so now because you want to live a high-powered lifestyle. When you got out of jail, you were in and out on all types of violent crimes. So it doesn't seem like to me that he learned anything. He went to jail for a violent crime in 1994 and got right out again and got convicted of manslaughter. Now, in violation of his 1994 plea deal, Defendant Petty directly and indirectly harassed the plaintiff not to speak out concerning the rape she experienced at the hands of Petty. In violation of his 1994 plea deal, Defendant Petty directly and indirectly reached out to Plaintiff Hough's family members to ensure the plaintiff would not speak out concerning the rape she experienced at the hands of Defendant Petty. Defendant Nicki Minaj directly and indirectly intimidated the plaintiff to recant her legitimate claim that the Defendant Petty raped her. Defendant Nicki Minaj directly and indirectly harassed the plaintiff to recant her legitimate claim that Defendant Petty raped her. It's just going to be going on and on saying the same things over and over. Defendant Nicki Minaj directly and indirectly reached out to Plaintiff Hough's family members to ensure the plaintiff would recant her legitimate claim that the Defendant Petty raped her. Defendant Nicki Minaj lied to her social media followers and Queen Radio listeners about what transpired when her spouse, Kenneth Petty, raped plaintiff to prevent her rapist spouse from registering as a sex offender in California. As a result of the actions of Defendant Minaj and Defendant Petty, plaintiff has been traumatized her entire life. Plaintiff has been abused and manipulated her entire life. Plaintiff has been harassed and intimidated her entire life. Plaintiff has never felt safe since being raped by the defendant. Plaintiff has moved to multiple states to avoid intimidation and harassment by Defendant Minaj, defendant and their allies, legal teams, and fans. Now, I'm going to tell you this. When Jennifer Hough is saying that she has been harassed by their allies, their friends, their legal team, and fans, that is absolutely true. The Barbs are harassing her now in my chat. They are harassing me by doing this story. They are harassing her through my comment section by saying she's a liar, by saying this happened 25 years ago, by calling me names, saying that I'm ugly, saying that my hat don't match my outfit, all of those things. All because she stood up for herself and said, this happened to me. This happened to me. And I don't want to be harassed. I don't want to be manipulated with money. We don't want any money. Leave me alone. Leave my family alone. We just want to live our life in peace. But this is what the Barbs do. How can you not believe that she's being harassed by fans? They harass me. They harass me in my comment section, and I'm only doing a YouTube video. Nicki Minaj knew exactly what she was doing on Queen Radio when she attempted to make people believe that Jennifer was a white girl when she said white is right, must have been white is right. Just as she did when she wanted people to believe that the government was trying to force her to take the vaccine when she knew that she already is vaccinated, because she got turned down and they told her that they didn't want her at the damn Met. It's giving there are a lot of inconsistencies. There are a lot of inconsistencies with Nicki Minaj's story, and she's been deflecting and trying to put the subject off onto different situations so that people forget what it is that we're here to discuss when it comes to Kenneth Petty. This man was convicted of this crime. He was convicted of the crime, and the punishment was that you register as a sex offender for the rest of your natural life, for the rest of the remainder of your life. Now, if that's something that you want to fight, then you fight that, but leave Jennifer out of it. What does she have to do with this? She did not tell you to take the plea deal. Her family didn't tell you to take. Her family and your people, and they all harassed her at the tender age of 16 years old. She had to leave her home, leave all that she knew, leave a state that all she knew, and go move somewhere because she was being harassed and threatened at a young age. And she continues to be victimized through this very day by fans, barbs, people that are telling her that she's a liar. They're saying she's clout chasing. She only wants money. Well, as far as I'm concerned, she deserves every dime that she got coming to her. Because anyone that had to endure such a tragedy at such a young age, forget the multiple people that have come to corroborate her story. We still have people in the comment section that want to drag her and say she is a liar, all because they want to stand up for Nicki Minaj. Well, let's just forget Nicki Minaj for one moment. Kenneth Petty is required to register as a sex offender. So what do we have to say about that? At the end of the day, the court deemed him a sex offender and that he must register for the rest of his life. If he served his time, if that is the argument, that he served his time, he wants to go on and just live the rest of his life out in peace with his wife and his son, then all you have to do is register, my guy. Register as a sex offender and go on with your life. You don't get to move your weight around because you got money now. It's giving, now that you got money, now that you're married to Nicki, you feel that you're untouchable and you're above the law. And that is the message that Nicki Minaj herself is also sending. Now, timelines under the Child Victims Act. This action is timely because it falls within, and it gives the law the name of it, and is brought during the period outlined in that section. The claims brought herein allege intentional and negligent acts and omissions for physical, psychological, and other injury suffered because of conduct that would constitute sexual offenses as defined in Article 130 of the New York Penal Law. And such acts and omissions were committed against Ms. Hough when she was less than 18 years of age. And then they insert that penal code in here. Paragraph 26, specifically the conduct that gives rise to Ms. Hough's claims herein will constitute a violation of, among other things, New York penal law, blah, 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 rape in the first degree, forcible touching, and those are collectively known as child sex crimes. Factual allegations. Kenneth Petty violently raped plaintiff Hough. On September 16, 1994 is a date now burned into plaintiff Hough's memory and soul forever. Plaintiff Hough, a 16-year-old girl, left her grandmother's house in Jamaica, Queens, and was headed to the Q7 MTA bus stop on 145th Street and Rockaway Boulevard to catch the bus for school. Defendant Petty was standing at the bus stop when plaintiff got there. Defendant Petty was known as a delinquent that opted not to go to school, instead choosing to spend his days scouring the streets of Jamaica, Queens. On September 16, 1994, when plaintiff arrived at the bus stop, she was taken aback at the sight of Defendant Petty waiting at the bus stop. Defendant Petty's custom is to stand outside the store across the street from the bus stop, not the bus stop itself. Plaintiff stood at the bus stop but did not address Defendant Petty. Defendant Petty asked Plaintiff Hough, "Where are you going?" To which plaintiff responded, "To school. Where are you going?" To which Defendant Petty answered, "I'm going to school also." Plaintiff did not believe him because she knew Defendant Petty never went to school, so she responded, "Yeah, right." After that brief exchange, Plaintiff Hough turned back to the Defendant Petty to look to see if the Q7 bus or a dollar van was coming. As she turned her back, Defendant Petty turned. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me get my little puppy. He's crying. Let me get my little puppy. All right, so after the brief exchange, Plaintiff Hough turned back to the Defendant Petty to look to see if the Q7 bus or dollar van was coming. As she turned her back, Defendant Petty approached her from behind. Defendant Petty grabbed the back of Plaintiff Hough's jacket firmly and pressed a knife into her back and told her to start walking. Plaintiff tried to turn around, but Defendant Petty would not let her go, nor would he take the knife from her back. Plaintiff began pleading for her life. "Kenny, where are we going? Kenny, please, just let me go." Defendant Petty did not let her go. He already made up in his depraved mind that he was going to rape Plaintiff Hough. Defendant Petty walked plaintiff to a house around the corner from the bus stop, not letting go of his grip of her clothing, and with the knife still pressed firmly to her back. Defendant Petty kicked the door to the house open, pushed plaintiff inside, and walked her upstairs still at knife point. Plaintiff was crying the whole way up the stairs, pleading for her life, absolutely terrified of what will happen to her. Plaintiff pled to the defendant, "What do you want from me? Why am I here?" Yes, Queen of Harlem, I'm going to show you the babies at the end, but let me get through this, and yep, I will show you, because I know you want to see them. Yep, I'll show you the babies at the end of the video. So Defendant Petty held her down with his, okay, so no, I skipped. Plaintiff pled to defendant, "What do you want from me? Why am I here?" Defendant Petty replied to her as she pled through her tears, only stating, "You know what I want." Plaintiff ensues in a struggle with Defendant Petty, fighting for her life to get this rapist off of her. Defendant Petty held her down with his body weight and used his hands to forcibly rip off her pants, prying them off her small 16-year-old frame. Plaintiff was fighting back with all the strength she had. Then Defendant Petty grabs the knife again, presses it into her stomach, causing a small cut, and then threatens to use it further. Defendant Petty begins to squeeze Plaintiff Hough's sides to force her to let go of her pants. After being threatened with a knife cut on her stomach, Plaintiff had no fight left in her. Seeing no escape in sight, Plaintiff did the only thing she could do to save her life, and that was to give in and hope her rape would be over quickly. Once Defendant Petty got off Plaintiff Hough, he stood in the mirror and beat on his chest, stating, "I am the man, I am the man," repeatedly. Plaintiff mustered all her strength and courage to get back up once again and asked Defendant Petty, "Can I please leave?" Plaintiff attempted to walk towards the door and was blocked by defendant, who would not allow her to leave. All plaintiff could do at this point was to beg and plead to her rapist for her freedom. "Please let me go. I promise I won't say anything." Saying anything to get out of that house. Defendant Petty is still admiring himself after the violent rape in the mirror and attempts to light a cigarette to celebrate his depravity. Quickly thinking, plaintiff said, "Let me light it for you." She lights the match and attempts to throw the lit flame towards a roll of toilet paper on the dresser in front of her in hopes of setting the toilet paper ablaze. The flame goes out before it reaches the toilet paper roll. She then grabbed a contact solution container on the dresser. She threw it with whatever strength she had left at defendant's head. As Defendant Petty ducked from the contact solution, plaintiff pushed him with all her might. He fell and she sprinted down the stairs. "Nobody is going to believe you." Defendant Petty quickly gets up and yells down the stairs as plaintiff is running, a sentence that followed her for the rest of her life. "Nobody is going to believe you." And I'm going to say to this very day, she is still going through that. Nobody believing her, because even through all, I'm reading this case through these court documents. I have watched videos of Jennifer. Her story has not changed. No matter how you want to look at it, she has never said anything different. Her story has not changed. Have there been little words exchanged here and there with the whole she never said she talked to Nikki, but then she said Nikki contacted her? She never said that. What she said was people were reaching out on behalf of Nikki. When she said that Nikki contacted her in 2021 or recently, that's recently. When she said Nikki never contacted her, that might have been before. That might have been prior. Jennifer's story about this rape has never changed. And even with the whole Nikki not contacting, Nikki contacting, you never know what a person is trying to prevent from getting out to the news outlets. You don't know if she was scared and afraid for her life. But her story with this rape is consistent. Her story has not changed. Even on the real, her story did not change at all. Just reading it in the court docs, it is the same story. I don't understand why people don't believe that this happened to this girl. She has a cut on her stomach from the knife. Why is she going to be going? What is she gaining out of being a sex offender victim? By being a rape victim, by being a survivor, by going to the press, by risking being, put in front of the bars, put in front of the entire world. What is she gaining out of that? What is she gaining by coming out and saying that this happened to her? She's tired of the harassment. And then you got people like this black character that is being put up, and I see Tasha K trying to call him. Now, this is what it irks me about Tasha K and this black situation, because I told the people I was going to touch on that. What irks me about this black situation is that if Tasha K is from the streets, like she claims she from the streets, why would you call a street person on live on a YouTube video and you try to call this man in front of an audience? Of course he's not going to pick up. First off, what are you trying to call him and get? What are you trying to get out of him? You think he's going to admit that he called Jennifer? You think that he's going to admit that he harassed Jennifer for Kenny and Nicki Minaj? Any person that's from the streets should know that you ain't gonna call some street man and call him on no damn social media in front of a whole bunch of people. And he's going to answer the phone. That's how I know Tasha K ain't from no goddamn streets. She's not from no gutter, because anyone from the streets know that street code knows that you is not going to be able to call nobody on a live video, let alone a street person, and think that they're going to give you some tea on a live. Period. So now, 16-year-old plaintiff immediately reports the rape. Plaintiff did not stop running, and she sprinted at least 20 blocks until she reached John Adams High School. Once there, she informed the school security guards of what happened, and they immediately contacted the police. Once the police arrived, they questioned Plaintiff Hough. They placed her in a van to go to the house to confirm the location of her rape and to arrest Defendant Petty. So now, if this did not happen, how is it that the police questioned her, placed her in a van, took her to the house where it happened, and Defendant Petty was still at the house? Defendant Petty was still in the house where he raped Plaintiff Hough, and he was arrested on the spot. Plaintiff confirmed his identity, and then the police took defendants to the police station and took plaintiff to the hospital to be checked out. Plaintiff Hough's friend brought her home from the hospital, and this was the first of many people who victim blamed her. Hours after being violently raped, Plaintiff Hough's friend said, "I'm so sorry you got raped, but you should have screamed." The day after their son raped Mrs. Hough, defendant's parents showed up at victim Hough's house, beginning the chain of never-ending lies and harassment the plaintiff has had to face. In a clueless, delusional rant, the parents of defendant stated that Miss Hough was only accusing defendant of rape out of anger. Defendant's parents claimed that defendant did not want to date Miss Hough anymore. Miss Hough never dated Kenneth Petty, nor even knew him aside from seeing him in the neighborhood and hearing about him via word of mouth. They were never romantic in any way before Defendant Petty raped her. Defendant Petty's parents even took plaintiff to the district attorney. They pretended to be plaintiff's aunt and uncle to get plaintiff to drop the charges against defendant. Now, this is where it gets very murky and it gets very sad, because where was Jen's family where they allowed Defendant Petty's parents to take her to the DA and they pretended to be her aunt and uncle to get her to drop the charges against their son? And you tell me that this never happened? So the Barbs are going to, what do we have to say about that? This is in court documents. These are court documents. It is in court documents that Defendant Petty's own parents took Jen down to the DA's office and pretended to be her aunt and uncle to get her to drop the charges against their son. Plaintiff is victim blamed by her family. Shortly after the visit from defendant's parents, plaintiff's household began receiving death threats. Rumors circulated in the neighborhood that something would happen to plaintiff if she did not drop the charges. Jamaica, Queens is a tough neighborhood, and threats of that nature are not taken lightly. Now, in my interview with CY, Corey, he admitted to being one of those that was threatening Jen and was saying something gonna happen. That was his exact words. Something gonna happen to her. Something gonna happen if she don't recant her story. That's how something gonna happen to her. Those were his own words right here on my platform as well as other platforms. Corey admits to being part of the neighborhood gangs that threatened Jen. At this point, the plaintiff's family is beginning to turn on her because they did not want any violence from Defendant Petty and his associates brought to their doorstep. Plaintiff, a 16-year-old girl, felt more alone than ever before. She had just been brutally raped She could not go outside without the fear of being retaliated against for telling the police, and now she is afraid to be home because she was being threatened by outsiders for telling the police and by her family for bringing violence to their home. Plaintiff was constantly beaten and verbally abused both outside her home and in her home because everyone wanted her to drop the charges against defendant Petty. Can you imagine being threatened by your peers, people you go to school with, people in the neighborhood? Then your family allows Kenneth's parents to come pick you up, take you to the DA's office, pretend to be auntie and uncle, knowing damn well they were Kenny's parents. And then your family telling you need to lie and say that this didn't happen because they don't want people to be threatening their lives. I believe this absolutely happened. It's in the court documents. This is not something that is made up. This is documented. So what do we have to say about that? What do the Barbs have to say about that? These are documented facts. This is part of the documents. These are part of the court case. On the day of defendant Petty's criminal proceeding, plaintiff's family forced her to go to the hearing, even though she did not have to be there. And we all know that when the state picks up charges, if you look at the original documents, and I'm going to show you those right now. Looking at the original documents, it is the state versus Kenny. Okay? It is the state versus Kenny. So whenever the state picks up the case, the victim does not have to be there. She did not have to be there. She was not testifying because defendant Petty had already taken a plea deal. Okay, so August with the shade. First of all, I am actually doing a live because my audience asked me to go over this. I don't have anything to do with I don't know what you're talking about. You want us to respond, but this has nothing to do with Nikki. Excuse me, but please don't come in my chat disrespecting me. I don't disrespect you. I'm actually a member on your channel and I subscribe to your channel. Don't disrespect me because I'm not disrespecting you. I'm doing material that my subscribers asked me to do. So I'm not going to go back and forth with you and I'm not going to argue with you. You have the right to be a barb. You can be a barb. I'm talking about the harassment over Jennifer being harassed and the barbs harassing her. I didn't say August. I said barbs. Now, if you want to take that personal, then I'm talking about people that have personally come over to me. Oh, I did take my membership away. I did that a couple days ago. Because I'm not going to entertain arguing with grown men over Nicki Minaj. If you like Nicki Minaj, you can like Nicki Minaj. That's your channel. This is my channel. I'm doing material that my subscribers asked me to do. I said barbs. I didn't say August. So I'm not going to argue with you because, you reached out to me to dead a beef. And now I see you're trying to bring it back up again. I have my right to feel what I want to feel. And I gave that disclaimer at the beginning of this video. Now, I'm not flip-flopping anything. I said what I said. And I've been saying, you can go on and watch my other videos. You are a barb, and that's your right to be. I'm going to say what I say. So I've been saying, and I stand 10 toes down, I'm not a barb, and I don't condone Nicki Minaj's behavior, past, present, or future, when it comes to this girl, period. Now, you can go to your channel and you can go rant and rave and talk about what you want to talk about. But over here, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. Period. Okay? I don't want no beef with you, but if you want to have beef with me, you're going to be beefing by yourself, because I'm not about to argue over no goddamn Nicki Minaj. She doesn't pay my bills. She don't pay your bills. If you suck her titty, suck her titty. I don't. I'm not going to allow no rape victim to be bashed in my chat. Period. So you guys can be what you want. Okay? Okay, but you guys are grown men, okay? First of all, Rello, I see that now you're here. You guys are grown men, okay? I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you, okay? You can be, you stepped out of the bushes defending Nicki Minaj, okay? I said, what do the barbs have to say about this paperwork? That's what I said. That's what I said. This case was requested by my subscribers, and I'm doing what my subscribers asked me to do because I believe in Jennifer, period. I'm not going to allow any woman or any female to be victim shamed on behalf of Nicki Minaj. I'm not going to do it. I've been standing for Jen. I've been stating that Nicki Minaj, she should be ashamed of herself. This is not the first time. Period. So we're going to continue. I don't care about, you guys want to be barbs, but I'm not going to allow anyone that was raped. This woman was raped by Kenneth Petty. Period. And what I said was, these documents prove that this woman is not lying. And what I said was, the barbs, what do you have to say about these documents? That's what I said. Period. Now, if you want to come out the bushes and you want to stand for Nicki Minaj, that's on you. But do not take court documents with the truth staring you right in your face and try to flip it. Period. This woman was raped by Kenneth Petty. Period. And Nicki Minaj is trying to use her star power and her money to get this man off of the sex offender registry. It's giving, why, girl? He been registered all these years. Now that he's with Nicki Minaj, he ain't required to register? Oh no, it don't work like that. If that's your crime and that's your punishment, then that's what you are required to do. Period. That's what you're required to do. So now, block them, and we're going to keep it moving. I mean, I'm not going to tolerate grown people twisting narratives when the goddamn shit is staring you right in your face. Period. I'm not going to tolerate it. Now, if you want to be a barb. Don't disrespect me. Period. Don't disrespect me. You standing for some woman that wouldn't give a damn about you if you shit it on her face. So just stop. Just stop. You are flip-flop. Because whenever it comes to Nicki Minaj, you will forsake everything over Nicki Minaj. I don't give a damn about you or Rello. I don't know you, and I don't give a fuck about you. You shaded me before for some cups of conversation, and now you right back over here doing it again. So the shit that you said to me in that day when you went all around the merry-go-round to get my phone number, and the shit that you said, you didn't mean it. Because obviously you did not mean it, because you came in my chat disrespecting me. You came over here disrespecting me when you should not have. I supported you because you apologized. Because you said you're not going to disrespect your black queens. Remember that? Because you're an old lady. You're old enough to be our auntie. Remember all of that? And I gave you credit where credit was due. I said you have great material. You guys are doing well. You got the barbs over there. Just because I gave you compliments doesn't mean that I have to like Nicki Minaj. That's where you guys don't know how to separate being an adult and being a content creator from being a fan. You could be a fan, but at the end of the day, you still have to allow people their own opinions. You still have to allow people their room to feel however they want to feel. I'm going to feel what I want, and I'm going to speak out and say what I want to. And if you don't like it, don't come here. You don't have to be here. But see, that's the gang mentality. That's the gang mentality. This is what offenders, this is what criminals, this is what rapists, these are what abusers. That's that energy. That's the energy. It's giving stalker. It's giving abuser. It's giving very unstable energy. It's giving victim shaming energy. How you standing for black women? You say you stand for black women. You stand for black queens. No, you don't. Because the minute that they don't agree with you, the minute that they don't kiss a Nicki Minaj ass, or we don't believe in the Nicki Minaj narrative, then you ready to drag someone. Hey, do what you do. Don't come over here disrespecting me. You got your own platform. You got your own platform. Go do what you do. What I said was, what do the barbs have to say? I didn't say, what do August and Rello have to say? I said, what do the barbs have to say? So if you are a barb and you're saying you stand for black women, you stand for victims, you just disrespected me in front of my subscribers. You came on my shit and disrespected me in front of my audience. I have never done that to you when I had the right to. Because as far as I'm concerned, you've been shading me. I never knew who the fuck you were. I still don't know who the fuck y'all are. But I gave you a chance because you were willing to apologize. Now, can we get back to what we were talking about before we were rudely interrupted? Y'all can go make 1,001 videos. Y'all can put up pictures. I will not be over there. I been took my membership back. Been unsubscribed last week. Because I already felt the Nicki Minaj vibes. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be doing that. I've been unsubscribed and I've been took my membership back, boo. You don't have to tell me that because I was already 10 steps ahead of you. I already knew what it was giving. The minute that I stepped out and wanted to say how I feel about something, I got to be shaded by some grown ass men that ride Nicki Minaj's pussy. Like, if that's what you want to do, do it. But don't knock me because I'm not in that bag. I don't ride her pussy. I don't give a fuck about Nicki Minaj. Period. Like, girl, don't come over here disrespecting me. I don't argue with men. I don't know how many times I have to tell y'all men, I don't give a fuck if you're gay. I don't give a damn if you're trans. I don't give a fuck what you are. I don't argue with fucking men. I don't argue with men. I have a man that does that. So if you want to argue with somebody, I can give you a number to someone that you can fucking argue with. I don't argue with niggas. I don't argue with men. I'm a woman. I don't argue with men. The fuck I look like arguing with some fucking men. But see, again, like I always say, these men, because why? Because they're gay, that they got the right, because they think they're feminine, that they can argue with women. You're still disrespecting females. You want to argue with a nigga? I'll give you a number. I'll give you a number to someone that can handle you. Because I don't argue with men. Fuck out of here. Always coming in other people's chat trolling for fucking Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is a fucking, she should be ashamed of herself. She's standing with a fucking rapist. And it's giving coca leaf vibes to me. Her ass is strung the fuck out and she making fucked up choices. That's what it's giving to me lately. Losing all kinds of weight. Let's not talk about that. Fuck out of here. Nicki Minaj is a bum. She's a bum. And she should be ashamed of herself to stoop down to the level of Kenneth Petty. You're in control. Fuck out of here. Monica, actually, I think she was on our team. She said, child, they not feminine. Don't let them think that. Listen, I don't even, the thing about them too is that, they used to drag me for cups of conversation. Okay. When they fell out with her, they wanted to reach out to me and they was banging people's doors down trying to get my phone number. All right. I let them call me. We talked it out. I let them apologize. I gave them some constructive criticism about YouTube. I gave them pats on the back, told them that their material, I see them growing. They look good. That their videos are great. I gave them their life. I gave them their props. But I'm not a barb. I don't know what made them think anything otherwise. I'm always doing videos in favor of Cardi. So I don't know what would make them think that I'm a barb. I'm not a barb. I have never, go look at a video. I've never spoken in favor of Nicki Minaj. When have I ever spoken in favor of Nicki Minaj? So I don't understand what makes people think I am not a fanatic. I'm not going to go crazy over these women, but I don't stand with Nicki. I just don't. Nicki, in my opinion, she done fell off and she should not attach herself to Kenneth Petty. She need to do an about face, start trying to pick herself up from this relationship and get her life together. She need to separate herself from this rapist and move the fuck on. That's what she need to do. Period. Because these documents, this shit is true. This shit happened. It's true. Period. And I'll say it again. Now, what the fuck do the barbs have to say about these court documents? What do the barbs have to say about this? What do the barbs have to say about this woman being harassed by Kenneth Petty and their goons and by Nicki Minaj thinking that she can buy Kenneth out of registering on the sex offender list? That she can get high-powered lawyers and now he doesn't have to register. Like I said, where are the barbs? Where the fuck are the barbs? I'm not scared of anyone. Where are the barbs? Where the fuck are y'all? You want to come in the chat? Let's go. Let's go. You want to stand for a rapist? Let's go. Let yourself be known. All rapists is getting blocked. All rapists, victim shamers, because as far as I'm concerned, if you standing next to a rapist and you taking up for a rapist, you just as much to blame. You just as much to blame. You might as well be a rapist. You standing next to a rapist, defending a rapist, you might as well be a rapist. And you know what? This argument, stop putting Nicki Minaj with Kenneth Petty. Stop putting Nicki Minaj in this shit. Nicki Minaj inserted herself in this. She inserted herself in this shit on Queen Radio. She should have never inserted herself. Then we would not have inserted Nicki. Nicki inserted herself. Nicki inserted herself into this mess. She called herself standing for her man. And she continues to do that daily. She tries to get out there in front of the press and do damage control. So you saying stop putting Nikki, that's her husband. She's married to Kenneth Petty. Frank Tony says, so if your dad or husband or son was a rapist, you wouldn't take up for him? I absolutely would not. And if you want to know, my stepson is a rapist, and I did not take up for him. No. And he was raised in my home. So, next question. My stepson molested someone, and I did not take up for him, nor did his father. Next question. No, not everyone is not does not have values. I have values and morals. I do not stand for rape. I don't stand for murder. I don't stand for crimes. Absolutely no. No. So that answers your question. No. Nope. Not at all. So let's just get on with this. All right. So plaintiff suffers physical violence as a result of defendant Petty's plea. On the day of defendant Petty's criminal proceeding, plaintiff's family forced her to go to the hearing even though she didn't have to be there. Okay, that's where we got interrupted. All right. So plaintiff hid in the stairwell the whole time, mentally in shambles. The district attorney happened to take the stairs that day and ran into the plaintiff sitting in the stairs and asked what was she doing there. Plaintiff told the truth and said, they are forcing me to drop the charges. The DA responded that she would handle it. When everyone was in court, the judge asked if anyone had anything to say, and the plaintiff stood up and stated that she wanted to drop the charges. The judge did not find that statement very convincing and stated, take that up with the district attorney. And the reason why the judge would have said that is because the DA, once the state picks up these charges, the victim cannot drop charges. I know that because I've been involved in a lot of different court cases in my life. I'm 43 years old and I know a thing or two about court and about the law. Once the state and the DA picks up a case, it's nothing that the victim can do, especially in a domestic violence situation, in a rape case, any of it. If the state picks up the charges, there is nothing the victim can do. There have been plenty of people that have filed domestic violence charges against their spouses. And once they go to court, the person is trying to drop the charges, but they can't because the state took the case over. So the state is saying, no, we're going to try it because we picked up the case. So whenever the state picks up a case, it's nothing that a witness, plaintiff, defend, whatever. It's nothing that the victim can do. Whether you're the victim of a rape or victim of domestic violence. Nothing. So, Frank Tony, exactly my point. Why is Nikki getting blamed for what Kenny did? No one is blaming Nikki. And I don't know if the Barbs are, people that like Nicki Minaj. I don't know if you guys are delusional. I don't understand why you're allowed to get nasty with people. You're allowed to call people out their name. You're allowed to drag people. You're allowed to call them liars. These boys just came on my shit and told me that I'm too old to be doing this story. What the fuck does my age got anything to do with this? I'm too old for this. Too old for what? My fucking subscribers asked me to do this story. I have been being asked for these court documents for months. By the show of hands, my subscribers, by the show of hands, how many of y'all have asked me for this story? How many of y'all have asked me for this case? Since people want to say I'm too old for this, I am doing this at the request of my 8,000 plus subscribers. I purposely stayed away from this because I did not want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with having to explain how I feel about this situation. I purposely stayed away from it. But I had many people asking for this, requesting this story. The only reason why Nicki Minaj has been brought up with this, she inserted herself in this. She went on Queen Radio, and I'm going to show you because it's in these court documents. She went on Queen Radio and stated that, nah, they were together. This happened when she was 15 and he was 16. They was dating. Sound like a white girl to me. White must be right. She purposely wanted the public to believe that Jennifer was a white woman, that Jennifer was a white girl, because that would somehow diminish the rape. That would somehow make it that it is not as valid, because it's, yet again, it's a black man being done wrong by the system because it's a white woman. That's sad, because that's entirely false. The story remains the same. Kenneth Petty is a rapist, and he needs to register on the sex offender registry. That is part of the crime. You do the crime, you do the time. That's part of the time. That's part of the plea deal that he signed. So what the fuck do the barbs have to say about that? And I'm going to ask that question again. What the fuck do the barbs have to say about that? Your queen is standing next to her king, standing for his rape crime, asking that he not have to register as a sex offender. So Miss Magic Podcast says, Sweet Pea, does it matter if the laws change after 20 years of good behavior? Does he deserve it? So I don't think that good behavior has anything to do with the actual crime. His punishment is that he register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. That's part of it. Now, you know, whether he paid, you know, I agree that he went to jail and he paid for the crime in jail. I agree with that. However, part of the punishment is that he registers as a sex offender for the rest of his life. So when he went with Nicki and moved to California, he was required to register. You don't get to not register if you've been doing that all your life. Why now? Why now do you not register if you've been doing that all your life? It's because you get with Nicki Minaj and she tells you, you know what, babe, we gonna get lawyers. We're gonna get this taken off your record, because now they even want it removed. They now want to say that when he was a child convicted of this crime, he was denied his right to due process because he did not even fight the conviction. He didn't fight the fact that he was going to remain on the sex registry for the rest of his life because he didn't know any better. So now this is what they want to argue. We went over that already. So my thing is that Jen's story has never changed. These documents are accurate. These are court documents. The court said that you are guilty and that you went to jail and that when you get out, you must register as a sex offender for the rest of your life. That's point blank, period. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's it. I don't understand where the animosity comes in at. Where does the animosity, if it was anyone else, now I'm going to tell you right now, if this was Cardi B and Offset, everyone would be doing videos about it. They would be up in arms. People would be demanding that he be kicked off the label, that he be canceled, that his music not be played, that no one listen or stream his music. If this was Cardi B and Offset, everyone would be up in arms. But because it is Nicki Minaj, everyone wants to remain quiet. Okay, Bossy is saying he is not being sued for R. Jen's story has... We didn't say that. We never said that he was being sued for R. And Jen's story has not changed as it pertains to the actual crime. Before I did this video, I purposely, and Bossy, you and I have talked about this, and you already know my stance, what it used to be. I was very, very skeptical of doing this story. But as I started doing my research and reading the court documents and reading the history of Kenneth Petty, other crimes that he has committed, speaking with people behind the scenes about this, putting all of the moving pieces together, I'm not here to talk about what she's suing them for as it pertains to Nicki, and I don't know what she got going on with that. I don't know what Nicki, who Nicki, I'm not, and none of us do. We do not know what Nicki and Kenny, what they do at night, who they talk to, who friends be on the phone with them. We don't know none of that. But what I do know, when I listen to Jennifer's story about this rape, this is true. And I know it's true. This story is consistent. These words are accurate. And being a victim myself of molestation and rape, this is true. No one is going to say that they were raped if they were not raped. This is not a lie. This is not a lie. As far as when she told the story about Nicki, and first she said that she didn't talk to Nicki Minaj, then she said she talked to Nicki. There are a lot of things that people say and then they take it back. There have been people that wrote out whole confessions to murders and then they took it back and said that they never committed the crime after just admitting to murders. So I do not believe that Jennifer is lying. I believe in this story. Now, if you want to be minute detail, well, she said this, and then she said this, and then she said this, but she said this first. I mean, there's a lot of, there could be a lot of reasons for that. She could, like she said, she's being threatened. She got people that, this black person that Tasha keep trying to fucking call and put on live. She's got people threatening her. So maybe she was trying to protect Nicki when she said, I didn't talk to Nicki at first. I don't know about that particular part. But the rape story, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the moving pieces of this lawsuit. But we're going to get real deep. We're going to get real deep about why I'm actually here. Because these people have been served, okay? And Jen's lawyer was trying to serve them, right? And they purposely have been dodging being served. They purposely would not let the court serve them because they wanted time to go by. And when Jen's lawyer kept asking for extension, the court denied it. But it doesn't matter whether he denied the extension of time for them to serve Nicki and Kenny, because they actually were able to serve them in September. They actually were able to be served. Okay, and I have the address where they were served and everything, which is why Nicki doesn't really want all of that out in the press. Okay? Because her information is out there. But as we go into this, the remainder of all of this, it just basically, she just keeps talking about her story. And she says, due to the mental trauma from the ordeal, the constant beating, and the verbal abuse at home, plaintiff ran away from New York City, her home for 16 years, and moved to Florida with her uncle, whom she thought would protect her. Her uncle ended up raping her shortly after her arrival. Plaintiff left her uncle's home in Florida and has been on her own ever since the ensuing years. Plaintiff was mentally and emotionally destroyed and attempted to find value and kindness in anything she could. Partying, drugs, living in the streets, in and out of shelters. The plaintiff's self-worth was at zero. Her emotions were empty and she was lost. Plaintiff moved around a lot because she was too afraid to go back to New York for fear of someone recognizing her. Plaintiff had 4 children, numerous failed relationships, and never knew a true home in her entire life. Now, this is where Kenneth Petty and Nicki Minaj intimidate and harass the plaintiff. In 2016, plaintiff moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where she met her husband, whom she wed in 2018. She was finally beginning to learn to be happy and love herself. In 2018, defendant Minaj posted that she was doing a turkey giveaway in Queens, New York on Rockaway Boulevard and 147th Street. This attracted much attention, given how big of a star defendant Minaj is, and Queens was her hometown. On November 25, 2018, defendant Minaj posted a picture of her and defendant Petty, the man who arred plaintiff at knife point. It appeared that they were dating, and in the photo, they were throwing up gang signs. Toward the end of November, defendant Minaj posted another picture of her and defendant Petty and replied to a comment stating, Kenny was 15 and she was 16 and in a relationship, but go off internet. This was picked up by every publication, tabloid, iHeartRadio, USA Today, bloggers, and YouTubers. As a result, defendant Minaj's post, plaintiff was sought after for comment. Seeing no choice than to defend the truth, plaintiff recorded an interview with a YouTube blogger, giving her side of the story. Plaintiff thought that that would be the end of it. Now, this is where I interject at again. Now, for all of the barbs and all of the people that say, why do we attach Nicki Minaj to Kenny's issues? Well, here it is right here. This is the start of Nicki Minaj inserting her own self into Kenny's situation. Okay? Now, whether or not Kenny was 15, 16, whatever, but that's what she says. Nicki Minaj says that Kenny was 15 and she was 16, but it's actually the other way around. Kenny was 16 and she was 15. Okay? And Nicki purposely did that because she wanted to try to make it look like Jen was an older white girl and Kenny was a young black boy, even though it was a year difference. She purposely did that. She wanted to try to paint a narrative that Kenny was 15, he was with an older person that was a 16-year-old white woman. And this is where she inserted herself. And here it is right here. Because they have it as part of the evidence. Okay? Look at this. They have it as part of the evidence. They have it as part of the evidence. Please block them, Monica or whoever, because as I keep stating, and I'm okay, this is going to be my last time for those that enter into this building late. You can go and rewind it and start over, but this is going to be my last time making this statement. This story, I have over 8,000 subscribers on my channel. This story was requested. I don't give a fuck about Nicki Minaj or Kenneth Petty. I don't give a fuck about either one of them. They don't pay my bills. They don't give me no motherfucking money. They don't make or break me. Y'all the delusional motherfuckers that think that being a barb means being a part of a cult and being a gang and that you're going to get some kind of cool points for being able to drag someone for Nicki Minaj. Y'all are the delusional ones. Okay? This was requested by my subscribers, and I am giving them what they want. All right? I'm I'm giving my people what they asked for. They asked me to put up these documents and explain the case because they wanted me to do it because I do Tasha K and all of that. So my people asked for it. So that is what I'm doing. Giving my people the breakdown. So if you are not a Sweet Pea Diaries subscriber, you're not a friend of the show, you don't like me, you shouldn't even be here. If you're a Barb and you support Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty in their right and their wrongs, you should not be here. If you don't stand for victims, you should not be here. Oh, kind heart, we all know that she followed them and they getting paid. That's why they do what they do. But the weird shit is, go off. You can still be a fan of someone and not drag other people for having their opinions. Nicki Minaj inserted herself into this. Being a fan of someone doesn't mean that you don't have your own mind. Oh, you want to be a puppet. Oh, you want to be a puppet. You want to be a puppet. Well, then if that's what you want to do, you want to dedicate your channel and your platform to pushing other people's narratives, that's on you. You want to box yourself in to only do Nicki Minaj content, that's on you. I would hate to see the day when she let your ass down because my faves, they're not perfect. People are not perfect. They're going to let you down. So I hate to see the day when she lets you down. But if you want to be boxed in and you want to report everything favorable, then you do that. You do that. You do that. But honey, I'm not gonna do nobody's dirty work. That's the type of woman that Nicki Minaj is. She wants minions out here so they can do her dirty work, so that she can hide behind the camera and she can hide behind the DMs and she can hide behind and throw rocks and hide her hands and have other people do it for her. Honey, these YouTube streets, it is not that serious. I have a life outside of YouTube. I have a career outside of YouTube. I do not know y'all motherfuckers and I don't give a fuck. And like I said, I don't argue with men. I'll give you a number to a nigga that you can argue with, and you can do that. I'm not going to argue with no man. I don't give a fuck how feminine you are or how much of a gay or how much dick you take. I'm not going to argue with a motherfucking nigga at all. Period. So this shows, oh, they want to talk? Let's give them something to talk about. In my Shania voice. Now, she posting her dude, she all up in her birthday suit, got her ass out with a criminal. Nobody was checking for you and Kenneth Petty. So then it says, wait, y'all calling this man a rapist, but it happened in 94. Meaning he was 16 or 17 and the girl was 16 years old. Must have been a white girl. And then Nicki says, he was 15, she was 16. In a relationship, but go off internet. Y'all can't run my life. Y'all can't run your own life. Thank you, boo. Basically saying to the girl that, yeah, you're right. But you hit it on the bingo. And it's like, girl, you inserted yourself in conversation. But it is because it happened in 94 for me. What is that? That doesn't negate the rape. Just because it happened in 94. Happening in 94, what does that make? That takes away from the validity of the rape because it happened in 94? That means nothing. This woman didn't ask. Y'all sought her out. She was out there in Georgia minding her motherfucking business. Nicki Minaj decided to get with Kenneth Petty. She wanted a goon. She wanted a rapist. She wanted a thug. She wanted someone that could do her dirty work. Someone that could move muscle around for her. And she went and got a criminal. Now, because y'all like Nicki Minaj, y'all want to make excuses for her. That's on you. That's on you that you want to defend her. But don't come over here. Don't come around here because I have integrity. I'm not going to let no woman be dragged on any platform for speaking her fucking truth. I know what it's like to be a rape victim and people look you in your fucking face and tell you that you need to go lie and say that shit didn't happen. I know what that's like. That shit happened to me. I know what it's like for people to look you in your face and tell you that you're lying. And they know you're not lying. Period. They know that this woman is not a liar. Nobody is saying that she did not get raped. If you peep the conversation, they're saying that it happened so long ago. Why is this valid? Because he did not register as a sex offender, and he think because he's with Nicki Minaj that he don't have to, that these laws don't apply to him anymore. Period. So Nicki Minaj was wanting everybody to see her relationship, throwing her ass up in the air, got Kenneth Petty in pictures, and we care because, like, girl, we care because you trying to make Meek jealous. You wanted to make Cardi. They not jealous of you, boo. They not jealous of your sabotaging your own career by aligning yourself with a fucking rapist. You need to get in the booth and get into your career and worry about why them fucking songs and albums is flopping. That's what the fuck you need to do. You need to let the Barbs have their own motherfucking mind every once in a while. Because maybe if they did, they could see through this bullshit. First it was they didn't want her to, the government was trying to make her get vaccinated. Then we see her standing on Real Housewives of Potomac next to Andy Cohen with no motherfucking mask on. Like, girl, which one is it? Are you vaccinated or you're not vaccinated? Oh, because you were trying to deflect because you all knew that Jen was going on the real because that shit was taped already and you already knew that that shit was coming out that week. So you were trying to do all you could to do damage control, and it is the Barbs for me. These delusional women that allow people to be victim shamed. I don't give a fuck about what's going on between Kenny, Nicki, and Jen as it pertains to what money they fucking arguing over, because as far as I'm concerned, if you are harassing a victim and she ain't fucking with you, you deserve to pay that bitch. You deserve to pay her. And I'm just using that word as a, loosely. Jen deserved to be paid because she was minding her fucking business. Y'all decided to start posting pictures and putting shit up there and antagonizing and teasing people. Nicki Minaj inserted herself into this conversation, just like this fucking lawsuit says. And then Jen had no choice but to come after and defend herself on daytime tea time. And like I said, in the beginning of this, I had my own doubts. I was listening to her voice, and I was like, damn, is that sound like somebody I know? Until it took me months, okay? It took me months of doing research, of listening to Jen's story, of watching interviews, of reading comments, of looking at Kenneth Petty's arrest record, because me having access to Pacer, I reviewed every document I could find on Kenneth Petty. I did all of my research, and that's what I challenge people that stand for Nicki. Do your research. Don't push her narrative because you want to get some cool points or you want some motherfucking brownie points. Don't do her dirty work. I challenge you to have your own mind and your own views on things. She inserted herself in this conversation. Jen wasn't bothering nobody. Didn't nobody know who the fuck Jen was? Nobody knew who the fuck Jen was. Until Nicki and Kenny decided to start posting flicks and trying to twist the narrative that Jen was older than Kenny and she was a white girl. Because we all know how the public would perceive it. Oh, it's just another black boy being done wrong by the system. So now everybody's going to get dragged on behalf of Nicki Minaj. My point is as follows. Kenneth Petty was required to register as a sex offender. Why is it giving his name need to be off the registry now? Why? Why does his name need to be off the registry? Answer me that. I want to know now, Barbs. That's what the fuck I want to know. I want to know that right now. You're here. You're in the chat. You're in the bushes. Answer that now. As a mature adult, I challenge you to have a mature response. I don't know. Don't drag. Don't call me no names. Don't do none of that. Have a mature response. I need a mature response. Can I get that? What does this have to do with him not registering as a sex offender? That's what I need to know. I need to know that. I need an answer to that right now. If he did his time, like you guys said, he was accused, convicted of this crime, and he did his time back in the 90s. He went to jail for it. So he wanted to live his life. All right, well, the punishment is that he has to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Okay? That's what he was required to do. So part of rehabilitation as a criminal, when you go to jail and you tell the parole board that you want to get out, you have to show that you're rehabilitated, right? So you go and sit in front of the parole people, you go sit and talk to parole and probation officers, and you tell them that you are rehabilitated. So part of that is following rules. Part of that is following the plan. And your plan says that you must register anytime you move from state to state. You must register as a sex offender. So I need to know, why should he not register? Why not? If he just registered, went on with his life, we wouldn't be here. If they weren't trying to, so what we're saying is Jen needs money. So Jen needs money. So she filed a lawsuit against them because she's lying, saying that they're harassing her, when Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty were the ones that decided to take photos and antagonize and tease this victim, forcing her to come out of the shadows. Oh, but she was supposed to just be quiet. That's right. Because that's what the rest of you would have done. If you were raped by Kenneth Petty, that's what you would have done. You would have seen your story being told in the press, and you would have just been quiet. You would have let people lie on you. You wouldn't have said anything. Because that's what people are saying too. Why did she have to speak up? She should have just shut up. She ain't have to say anything. Okay, so that's what the rest of you guys would have done. August and Rello couldn't shut up. They couldn't even be quiet. This didn't have anything to do with them. And they couldn't even remain in the bushes. They had to be known. They had to speak. So if they couldn't remain in the bushes over someone that they don't even fucking know, how the fuck are you gonna really sit here and tell me that if this was you and someone was telling your story, you would really just be quiet? All of this has already been, he pled guilty. He signed a plea deal. We just waiting to hear what the sentence is. Y'all know that, right? We just read that in the beginning of the court documents, in the beginning of this video, that he has already taken a plea deal for not registering as a sex offender. So what makes you think that they're going to be able to beat that? He already took a plea deal. When a person takes a plea deal, that's admitting, that's just as like, you might as well admit that you're guilty. And he did plead guilty. He pleaded guilty to not registering as a sex offender and took a plea deal. Why are we here? Why are we here? Why did he need to be removed from, we're here because the victim is being victim shamed. She's being dragged in the press by the Barbs, by people like August and Rello. that feel as though if they stand for Nicki and drag other black women for her, that gives them a leg up with Nicki Minaj. When you was just in my motherfucking DMs, you was just in my text messages begging for phone conversations, wanting to make it right, begging to do videos, wanting me to go live, wanting me to, I want everybody to know that I'm apologizing to my black queen. What? And now, because of Nicki Minaj, all of that is undone over a woman that you don't fucking know. So that tells me that shit was fake. It was fraudulent. You never meant that. And I always knew this, though. I knew this day was coming because I said, if I don't fit that narrative that I am not a barb, that's when it's good. All hell's gonna break loose. If I say anything about Nicki Minaj, that's when all hell's gonna break loose. So that really means that you and I, we can't have a relationship, friendship, YouTube ship, whatever the fuck you want to call it, because you are a fanatic when it comes to Nicki Minaj. And that's what I don't like about the barbs. You guys don't have your own mind. You can still like someone and admit when they're wrong. You can still like your favorite, but say Nicki should have stayed out of that. She has a career to worry about. She's got the barbs to attend to, and she needs to worry about making music and saving her career. She needs to distance herself from Kenneth Petty. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Like, come on. You can have your own mind and still be a barb. Well, at least I would think you would be able to. But that gives me, again, that's very cultish. It's very gang, like a gang. Like, shit, if you don't believe what we believe, then we don't fuck with you. Like, honey, y'all didn't tell me to unsubscribe and take your membership. Bitch, my money was coming out. Well, send me back my motherfucking money then. Send me a refund. Bitch, money was coming out my motherfucking account for 3 months. Send me my shit back then. Send me my motherfucking money back. Like, stop talking shit. Oh, we don't unsubscribe, ma'am. Forfeit the membership. I been did that 10 days ago because I'm not into kissing ass. I don't run around with people on YouTube and kiss ass. I'm 43 fucking years old. I got fucking kids your age. Fuck I look like kissing somebody motherfucking dick cause you up Nicki Minaj ass. I don't kiss nobody's dick but my motherfucking husband. And I barely do that. We on the outs, bitch. I ain't kissing no dick. What the fuck I look like? Fuck out of here. Coming up in my shit disrespecting me over some bitch that's standing with a fucking rapist. And he done already admitted to being a convicted fucking rapist and a fucking convicted felon. Like, no. Girl, no. But then want to get mad at us because we have common sense. We have common sense. You don't come on my channel and tell me what kind of material I'm allowed to cover. This is my platform. You got your platform and it is dedicated to Nicki Minaj. This is my platform. You don't come over here and you don't get the right. You don't get to tell me what the fuck I can cover. You don't have the right to do that. Tell me what the fuck kind of videos I can do for my subscribers. It don't work like that. So again, barbs, and I see nobody answered the question. If Kenneth Petty was told that he had to register for the rest of his fucking life, that's what the fuck it is. You don't get to all of a sudden get married to a celebrity and now your shit, we can pay for lawyers. We can pay for lawyers and we're going to get that shit off your record. No, it don't work like that. And you don't get to harass victims and offer them money. So Jen if Jen is clout chasing and Jen wanted money, why didn't she take the money? I believe they did offer her ass money. Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe they did offer her money, just like Jason Lee said when Nicki Minaj wanted to talk to him, wanted to go through Karen Civil, but wanted her on the phone. And the way Jen said, she said, I got word that you wanted to help me out, or helped us out with something. That's the same language that when she was trying to talk with Jason. It's like she go through other people and say, I got word of this, or I heard you wanted to do this. Like, stop trying to use other people. But now she's got 2 more assholes to use, because now she's going to use them to do her dragging on YouTube. Anybody that is doing this story, or that's spreading the truth, that's telling the truth, we got to worry about them. You think I give a fuck? They've been dragging me. They was dragging me before. I don't give a fuck, because I don't watch people that I don't fuck with. So I won't see the video. I won't know nothing about it, because I will not watch it. I don't watch people that I don't fuck with. And I've been removed myself from this equation, because I already knew that you did not mean the shit you said as long as Nicki Minaj was part of the fucking equation. I know what I see, and I know what the people see. And you cannot lie to us. We see it. We see exactly what took place here. That girl did not need any, she was not looking for any fame. She was not looking to be outed. You outed her when you decided you wanted your ass up in the air with Kenneth in the photo, and you allowed people to call her out and say that she was 16, he was 15. You allowed lies to ensue. And I would have done the same thing as Jen. I would have not allowed anyone to spread lies about me, especially knowing what the fuck I've been through with this shit. Especially knowing what the fuck I've been through with this shit. It doesn't make sense. But I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to get off of this. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to tell you this right now. It is so sad, the world that we are living in, that people will do anything for clout. Now that is clout chasing. The fact that because Nicki Minaj follows you, who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck if Nicki Minaj follows you. Cardi B follows Auntie Niecy. T.S. Madison follows me. I don't give a fuck who follows them. But at the end of the day, if you can't have your own mind, her following you don't mean shit, because that means that you're up to her dirty work. You're going to do her dirty work. You're telling her that you're her minion and she can do with your channel what the fuck she want to do. Now, she better be paying you some hellified money for that shit. It better not just be a fucking follow. It better be some money, bitch. You better be on tour, bitch. You better be giving radio show, or you better be on Queen Radio, or she better sponsor that fucking YouTube channel. Because as hard as you went in for some fucking Nicki Minaj, you better get something the fuck out of it. How dare you come the fuck over here on my shit and talk shit to me after I took your ass in? I just accepted your apology when I really didn't want to, but a person, a little birdie, convinced me to. But I already knew what it was given. I already knew what the fuck it was given. The minute I step out and say some shit that is against the Barb code, oh, I'm going to get dragged again. I'm not the queen. I'm not a queen no more. I'm not a black queen no more. As soon as I say something against Nicki Minaj, I'm not a black queen. Who the fuck want to be in that type of position where they can't have no motherfucking mind? They can't say shit what they fucking feel. You can't stand for what's right because you're getting followed by Nicki Minaj. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck about a motherfucking Nicki Minaj follow? Bitch, she better be motherfucking cash apping your ass for that motherfucking drag, for that fact that you allowed your motherfucking emotions to come in my motherfucking chat and tell me who I can talk about. How dare you? Come on my shit and tell me who I can talk about. You want to be over there doing your thing and your entire shit is dedicated to one woman, that's on you. However, I stand for what's right and for what's wrong. Nicki Minaj inserted herself into this equation. She had nothing to do with this at all. Nothing to do with it. She had nothing to do with it. She wanted the world to see her with Kenny because she was so jealous that Meek Mill and Cardi B and everybody had a relationship. She was so jealous. So she wanted us all to see that she was hugged up with some fucking felon. The point of this whole situation is, why did he not register as a sex offender? None of this would be taking place. None of it. Jennifer didn't come out of... let me tell you. Anybody that knows me knows that I had a very hard time with this story. Very hard time. It took me months to research, look at all the documents, look at videos. It took me months. Read comments. I did my research. That's what I encourage anyone to do. Do your research. Because by me doing my research, I was able to uncover things that I thought was taking place that really didn't take place once I read through the court transcripts. There's court transcripts that I have access to that I didn't even put up on the screen because I'm not going to go too far in debt with what I have. I'm not going to give everything because that's going to go too far in debt. I need to keep some receipts for myself. I'm gonna pull those receipts out when it really get tight. When the bars really start dragging in the comments, then that's when I'm gonna pull out the guns. Because I got some real receipts. I got some real receipts. The fact that Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty, they tried to avoid being served. They thought that if they didn't get served, that this lawsuit couldn't go forth. Well, now the time period has actually passed that they were allowed to respond to the lawsuit. So I'm gonna show. You know what? I'm gonna show you one more receipt because I'm gonna show you the receipt that goes with what I'm about to say right now. The time period has actually passed for their to respond. So really, judgment is going to be found in Jennifer's favor. So if these people are not, if Kenny is not guilty, if they were not harassing her, all of these things, why is this going to take place? Why is that going to take place? All right, so I'm gonna get that receipt real quick. Give me a moment, because I deal in receipts. I deal in receipts. Give me 1 second. People going to tell me I'm too old for this, like I'm being petty on some. No. I'm giving the people what they asked for. You don't come over into my motherfucking shit and tell me what I should be talking about and what I can talk about. Like, who do you think you are? It don't work like that. See? All right. Now, this was just entered yesterday. Okay? This was just entered yesterday. And see, this is why I try to tell people. I don't just get up here and make up content. Whenever I do anything that has to do with legal paperwork, I'm going to always come with a receipt. This is not my take on this. This is not what I think. This is what is actually going on in court. Now, if you're not guilty, if you have not harassed this woman, if they don't got any proof that Nicki Minaj did this or that Kenneth Petty did this or any of these things, why did they not answer to this lawsuit? Why did they, first off, they tried to avoid being served, but then they ended up being served. We have that paperwork. But then, why did they not respond to the lawsuit? Why did they not enter a plea? Why did they not have any type of response? And now the allotted time to respond has ran out. So usually when a lawsuit has been filed against you, which I'm going to let you read that because it says in the beginning of the lawsuit, a lawsuit has been filed against you. And if you do not respond, we will find in judgment of the plaintiff. Now, here we go, right here. This was just entered yesterday. Please enter the default of defendants Onika Tanya Mirage, aka Nicki Minaj, and Kenneth Petty, aka Zoo, pursuant to Rule 55 on the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure for failure to plead or otherwise defend this action, as fully appears from the court file herein and from the attached affirmation of Tyrone Blackburn. Tyrone Blackburn, Esquire attorney, duly admitted to practice law. Okay, whatever. Okay, he's saying, I am the following attorney and I'm representing Jennifer Hough. Okay, he's saying all that. Then he's saying this action was commenced according to, and he cites, the laws or whatever. And they're saying that including they want applicable liquidated damages, interest, attorney fees, and costs. The time for defendants Onika Tanya Mirage and Kenneth Petty to answer or otherwise move concerning the complaint herein has expired. Defendant Onika Tanya Mirage and defendant Kenneth Petty have not answered or otherwise moved concerning the complaint. The time for defendant Onika Tanya Mirage and defendant Kenneth Petty to answer or otherwise move has not been extended. Defendant Onika Tanya Mirage and defendant Kenneth Petty are not infants or incompetent. Defendant Onika Tanya Mirage and defendant Kenneth Petty are not presently in the United States military service as appears from the facts in this litigation. Defendants Onika Tanya Mirage and defendant Kenneth Petty are indebted to plaintiff Jennifer Hough in the following manner. On September 16, 1994, Kenneth Petty kidnapped and violently raped Ms. Hough by knife point. Within hours of raping Ms. Hough, Kenneth Petty was arrested and charged with rape. In 1995, Kenneth Petty pled guilty to attempted rape and subsequently served over 4 years in prison. Now, people get caught up in that he got found guilty of attempted rape. The reason why it's attempted rape is because part of the plea deal, whenever a person pleads to something, they usually lower the charges. It does not make the rape any less violent. They lower the charge in order to, so you don't get as many years, because if they left it at rape, it wouldn't have been such a short amount of time. So whenever you do a plea deal, the charge is severely dropped. Okay? Anybody that has been in the feds, that has been incarcerated, knows this. Shortly after his release from prison, Kenneth Petty intentionally murdered Lamont Robinson. He was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and later pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter. As part of his 1995 plea deal for raping Ms. Hough, Kenneth Petty was required to register as a sex offender and did so consistently until on or about 2019 when he began dating Nicki Minaj. After intentionally failing to register as a sex offender, Kenneth Petty violated the Federal Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. On August 6, 2021, Kenneth Petty accepted a plea deal for his SORNA violation in the Central District of California. While facing criminal charges for violating the SORNA Act, Kenneth Petty, Nicki Minaj, and their associates embarked on a relentless campaign of bribery, intimidation, harassment, and stalking of Ms. Hough and her family, as detailed in the amended complaint. Ms. Hough has suffered immensely. As a result of the defendant's unsolicited calls, contacts, and communications, Ms. Hough began having nightmares. The memories began to flood back from the day of her rape. She began to experience anger, pain, sorrow, anxiety, and trust issues. This led to Ms. Hough suffering from crying fits and thoughts of paranoia. At the end of May 2020, Ms. Hough received a call from her brother, speaking frantically. The brother warned that defendants knew where Ms. Hough lived and what her daughter does. They threatened to have someone show up at the Hough's house if she did not recant her 1994 rape claim. After receiving this threat, Ms. Hough moved in June of 2020. She changed her phone number, registering her new number under her husband's name. These efforts by Ms. Hough were unsuccessful in curbing the harassment and unwanted contact. Shortly after changing her number, Ms. Hough was contacted by a lawyer, instructing her to reach out. Ms. Hough was contacted by a lawyer, instructed to reach out to her by Nicki Minaj. Ms. Hough became so paranoid that she moved again in August 2020. Kenneth Petty is indebted to Ms. Hough for the rape he visited upon her in 1994. Kenneth Petty's rape violated New York penal law, and they cite the law. Additionally, Kenneth Petty is indebted to Ms. Hough for the assault and battery he visited upon her while engaging in the acts of kidnapping and raping her. Now, they're saying that he's indebted to her as well for intentional infliction of emotional distress, for the mental anguish that she suffered because of the raping and kidnapping that took place in 94. Kenneth Petty is indebted to Ms. Hough for stalking, harassment, bribery, and witness intimidation his associates visited upon her in 2020. Nicki Minaj is indebted to Ms. Hough for the harassment, stalking, bribery, and witness intimidation she and her associates visited upon Ms. Hough in 2020. The damages include, among other things, the following. Ms. Hough is requesting an award of damages of $20 million. Considering Kenneth Petty's 1994 kidnapping and rape of Ms. Hough, coupled with defendant's harassment, bribery, stalking, and witness intimidation, Ms. Hough must be compensated for the hell that was visited upon her by the defendants. Ms. Hough has been robbed of living a normal life. She has suffered immense mental and physical anguish. She lost her job and has moved into hiding because of the death threat Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty's associate directed towards Ms. Hough on behalf of the defendants. And that is the so-called black person that Tasha K keeps trying to get on a live phone call. Additionally, Ms. Hough is entitled to an award of costs and expenses together with reasonable attorney's fees. Wherefore of plaintiff Jennifer Hough requests that the default of defendants Onika Tanya Mirage and Kenneth Petty be noted and a certificate of default issued.
I declare under penalty of perjury that the proceeding is true and accurate to the best of my knowledge. So basically what they're saying is they want the judge to say that she can win by default because they did not answer to this lawsuit. Now, this is a logical question. If someone was suing you for $20 million, would you remain silent and not answer to the lawsuit? When people are in the comments saying that it's on Jen to prove the burden of proof, absolutely. But when a lawsuit is filed against you, the other half of this is that you must enter what you intend. Are you guilty? Are you going to answer? What is your response? When you do not respond to a lawsuit, it can be found in your default. Just like when your damn landlord is suing you or evicting you or putting a judgment on you. If you don't show up, the court will find in their favor automatically by default. So that is what Tyrone Blackburn is asking the courts to do, is issue a default judgment by default because they did not answer. Now, if you got a goddamn lawsuit pending in the damages of $20 million, you mean to tell me you're going to be quiet? That is because Jennifer and her lawyer are able to prove that she was being stalked. They have the calls, they got the text messages, they have it all. That is also in these court documents, but I'm not going to show that because I'm going to leave some of it for my boom aha moment. All of that is documented. Do you not think Tyrone Blackburn is a lawyer? He is a lawyer that is in the press, in the public. Do you not think that Jen does not have screenshots, screen recordings, phone conversations, recordings of people threatening her, that she don't got the paperwork, that she didn't turn none of this shit in? Why do you think they did not respond? Because she is able to prove that this shit was happening. Period. Oh, but it's a conspiracy because Nicki Minaj did not take the fucking vaccine. This shit was in existence before this whole vaccine conversation. Period. So like I said, I did my research with this case. I went through a lot of paperwork. Just like people say, oh, you talking about you got the court documents. They're on Pacer, duh. Where the fuck do you think TMZ gets their documents from? Every outlet gets their documents from Pacer. Pacer is the document houser of court records. Pacer houses every document that is logged into every court in America. TMZ has staff that specifically are hired to sit down and scour through Pacer looking for celebrity cases. And that's where they get their documents. So when I put in my description of my video, Sweet Pea Diaries obtain court documents, do you see these court documents on any other channel? Is anyone else going over these court documents? Hell to the no, no, no. You have to pay for these documents. You have to pay for Pacer. So when I said I obtained them, yes, I obtained them because I went on Pacer and I obtained the documents. I looked up the name and I pulled the records. That's what the word obtain means. So do you really believe that a multi-million-dollar lawsuit would just not be answered to? Let me explain something. This lawsuit is just the beginning. This is just the pulling back the veil that is Nicki Minaj. There are going to be many other things that come to the forefront. There's a lot of other things that are going to be exposed. A lot of other things. This is just the beginning. This is just the start. So we did this case, we covered this tonight, and we went through the court documents because my subscribers and the people that support this channel, they asked me to cover it. I have a lot of opinion when it comes to Nicki Minaj, and I am entitled to that because as a woman, and I say that I stand for victims, I had to check myself because in the beginning of this, I was victim shaming Jen. I had to check myself. I didn't believe her story. I had to check myself as a victim myself and say, why would I do this sister like that? That was done to me. I owe it to her to do my research. I owe it to her to go through these papers and see what the fuck is going on. Because in the beginning, I was like a lot of people. Oh, they just doing that because it's Nicki. I really was that way as well. And like I say, people that know me know that I was that way. But I had to review the paperwork for myself. I did my research and it took me months. It took me months. I didn't just go off the word of people. I didn't just go off the word of interviews and coverage that other channels were doing. I had to do my own research. And that's what I challenge anyone else to do. Because when you start going through this paperwork and you start reading everything, it all ties in together and it starts to make sense. And no one that has a $20 million lawsuit filed against them after receiving this document. I'm going to show you one more receipt. I'm going to show you one more receipt. No one, after receiving a court document telling them that if they don't respond, that this is going to be found in Jennifer's favor, and you still don't respond, that says a lot. I'm going to show you one more receipt. One more. Because I really gotta, now I'm really going in for the home stretch. Because I told the people that when I came, I was going to come correct and I was going to show it all and leave it all on the floor and be done with it. Because I'm not going over this again. I'm just going to follow it as it's going through the courts. Okay. All right. So let me get the first one. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. It's a lot of documents, so I have to go through it. Okay. All right. I think this is it right here. I think this is it here. All right, give me 1 second. I want to find, what I'm doing is getting the exact verbiage so you can see when it says in the lawsuit that, a lawsuit's been filed against you. And if you don't answer to it, they will find in her favor. And they purposely didn't answer to it. So give me a moment. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. Y'all know I got to get the you know I got to get the receipt. I got to get the receipt because the people will say that that's not true. It's so many documents, guys. Okay. Here we go. See, this receipt right here. I don't know if I want to show this because this one got Nikki's I don't know. Wait a minute. You know, I'm gonna let me get the receipt together and blot out her address and everything. I don't want to show her. I'm not gonna dox Nicki Minaj. I'm not gonna show her address and stuff. So I will get the receipt together and I'll put it on my community feed because I'm not gonna get striked. I'm not gonna get any type of legal trouble going over these documents. Is fine. I'm allowed to go over court documents, but showing her actual address and stuff like that, no, I'm not doing that because the next thing I know, they'll be trying to, come for me, and I'm not doing that. So I will get the receipt together and blot things out so that her address is not showing where they got served and all of that because I got the receipts. I got them. I got the receipts, okay? I got the receipts. She did not answer to this lawsuit. Kenneth Petty did not answer, and they were specifically told that if they didn't answer, that it would be found in judgment of by default, and Jennifer would win this trial. So Jennifer would win this lawsuit. Jennifer asked for it to go before a jury trial. She wanted to take it to trial. So if a person, I got all those receipts. We're going to go through all of that, but Jennifer wanted to take it to trial. I'm going to show you that. We here. Let me just show you that. I'm going to just show y'all that. I'm going to show you. A person that is not guilty, why would she want to take it to trial? A person that is guilty, why would she, if she was lying, why would she want to take this to trial? She want to take it to trial. Look, I'm getting down to it. Look, she wanted to take it to trial. Jury demand. Plaintiff demands a trial by jury as to all issues so triable. She wanted to go in front of the jury, and she wanted the jury to determine for past, present, and future general damages in an amount to be determined at trial, for past, present, and future special damages, including but not limited to past, present, and future loss earnings, economic damages, and others, in an amount to be determined at trial. Any appropriate statutory damages for costs of suit, for interest as allowed by law, for attorney's fees, the cause of action authorized by any appropriate punitive or exemplary damages against defendants Petty and Minaj, for such other and further relief as the court may deem proper. So basically she said, let's take this in front of the jury and y'all determine. what I should get, how much I should get. But she is asking for at least $20 million. And if you see so fit to add more on that, add more. Again, guys, I do not believe that Nicki Minaj would be in this situation and she would not be here. The Barbs and people that defend Nicki Minaj, they keep saying their argument is, why do you keep putting Nicki Minaj with Kenneth Petty's troubles? Well, if you watch this video and if you go through the court documents with us through this video, Nicki Minaj inserted herself into this drama. She inserted herself. She brought this case back up. She wanted the world to know that Jennifer was 16 and Kenny was 15. That was the narrative, and that she was a white girl. When Jen was actually 15 and Kenny was 16. Because what she wanted the world to think and believe, that it was another black boy, another young black man being railroaded by the system because of a white girl. Why would she allow that narrative to be pushed, knowing damn well she knew who Jen was? She knew about this story. She knew exactly what Zoo did. Why all of a sudden in 2019 did he think it was appropriate that he didn't register on the sex offender registry? He had been doing so all the way up to 2019 until he got with Nicki Minaj. And now he doesn't need to register anymore. Those are the answers that I need answers to. I need answers to those questions. Why does he not have to register as a sex offender? That's my question. We can debate back and forth all day. Jen said this. She was confused and said this, but then she said this. Her story about that rape never changed. I believe it happened. I believe she was trying to get on with her life. And I believe that she started being harassed when Nicki Minaj and Zoo got together, because Nicki felt she can throw her weight around. You don't got to register. We moving to California. You coming to California with me. Register for what? I'm going to get you out of that. I'm going to pay to get you out of that because I'm Nicki Minaj. All I got to do is follow people, and follow people on Instagram, and follow people on YouTube, follow people on social media, and they do my bidding. I'm the queen. We saw it here tonight. People that made amends with me, ready to drag me because I have an opinion. I'm entitled to my own opinion. This is my platform. This is my channel. How dare you come in my comment section and tell me what the fuck I can talk about? What material I can do for my subscribers, and what I should be reporting on, and what I should be saying. What I said was, what the fuck do the Barbs have to say now? You come in my shit, you drag me anytime I do a video about Nicki Minaj just because it's in the title. I could be praising Nicki, but nobody's paying attention to that. I told y'all, Nicki is way better than this. When I hold people accountable, it's because I want them to do better. Nicki can be way better. She's way better than this. She's putting herself with the likes of Kenneth Petty. She inserted herself into his criminal past. She inserted herself into his rape situation with Jen. Nobody was checking for Nicki or Kenny. She wanted the world to see that she was posted up with that rapist. And if I was Jennifer, when my story started being told for me, I would have done the same thing. Come out the woodworks and say, oh no, ma'am, you're not about to tell my story for me. And I know what I've endured, what I've went through behind this shit. It's just, it's sad, it's pathetic that people go that far for fans. Just to be a fan. To be a fanatic. That you would go that far. Like, that's just too much. But $20 million. They didn't answer to it. They didn't answer to the lawsuit. So what is that proof? Why didn't they answer? Why is Jen about to win through default? She could win this lawsuit through default. If the judge finds that a default order can be entered and that judgment by default, and she could win by default, if a judge decides to allow that, that's it. This case is done. The lawsuit is over and Jen wins. So if they are not guilty, if they didn't harass her, they didn't do any of this, why did they not answer to the lawsuit? Why did they duck and dodge being served? And then why did they not answer to the lawsuit? Why not? Why has time expired? Why has time passed for them to explain and answer to the lawsuit? You have to enter a plea to a lawsuit. You have to answer what you intend to do. So that's all I got. That's all I got. I showed you the receipts. We went through the documents. Again, this was a special request. My subscribers asked for it. People that support my channel, they asked for this material. They wanted me to break down the court documents. They wanted to read them. They wanted to go over the case. If you did not like this material, I had asked in the beginning that you excuse yourself. I said, listen, if you're a Nicki Minaj fan, if you're someone that likes me but does not like me doing Nicki Minaj material, I suggest that you remove yourself from this video now and come back later at a different time. All of that shit that took place earlier with people coming in my chat demanding, trying to tell me what the fuck I can cover and what I can't talk about, and try to age shame me and tell me I'm too old for what? How am I too old to speak the truth? This is the truth. This ain't my motherfucking fault. It's not my motherfucking fault that she married someone that has a criminal background and his crime called for him to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. And he had been doing so up until 2019. Stop trying to go over what the facts are. You're trying to cover up the facts and cover up the truth. That's the facts and that's the truth. Period. I don't argue with no motherfucking men. I'm not going to argue with no men about no motherfucking bitch. I'm not going to argue with no men about no fucking Nicki Minaj. Fuck, I look like arguing over a rich bitch. This bitch is a rich bitch. Bitch, I gotta go to work every motherfucking day. What the fuck I look like arguing over a rich bitch that give 2 fucks about me? She don't give 2 fucks about me, you, or anybody else. As you can clearly see, she gives no fuck about Jennifer and what happened to her at the hands of her fucking husband. She don't give a fuck. She could care less that Jen is suffering or had nightmares or have a fucking cut on her fucking stomach because her husband jabbed her with a fucking knife. Yeah, it happened 15 years ago, 24, whatever the fuck, 24 years ago, whatever. It happened when he was 15, 16, what the fuck ever. Yes, it happened a long time ago, but he's supposed to register as a sex offender. That's the issue here. That's what we here for. We're not here for nothing else. You were supposed to register, my dude. You were supposed to register. And that was you had only one job. To fuck Nicki and register as a sex offender. You had one motherfucking job and you failed at that. To give Nicki the pipe and register as a sex offender. But now you want to live a normal life because you are with a millionaire now. You never thought in your wildest dreams that you was going to be married to Nicki Minaj. That's what it's giving. You thought that she had went on about her life, that she had left you behind, but she reached back in her past and said, come on, because she need a yes man. She reached back in her past and grabbed your ass because prior to 2019, you was registering as a sex offender. You was doing all that you were supposed to do. So, it is what it is, you know. So, I'm okay with being alone in these YouTube streets. I'm fine with that. I don't need friends. I don't need, people to tag along. I don't need no get along, go along gang. I don't need none of that. I'm perfectly fine with being by myself on YouTube. I came in this shit by myself. I'm going to go out by myself. I'm an Aries. We roll alone. We roll solo all the fucking time. I don't need people in my life. As long as I got my kids and I got my loved ones, I got my career, I got what the fuck I'm doing in my life, I don't need these YouTube people. I don't give a fuck about y'all. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't care enough to, call me, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop talking about Nikki because I want to be your friend. I don't give a fuck. Would you stop talking about what the fuck I want you to stop talking about? Hell motherfucking no. When I asked you to stop talking about me when you was doing them fucking videos with the bitch over there, did you stop talking about me? Hell fucking no. You kept on going. So why the fuck do I gotta stop talking about what the fuck I want to talk on my shit? Now what kind of motherfucking sense do that make? Now I done went back to being old and petty and all this, but you was just calling me a queen, just running around banging down doors trying to get my motherfucking number. Oh, I want to do a live. I want everybody to know, I love my black queen. A fucking front and a fucking lie. Here it is. I took time out of my motherfucking day a couple of times to take phone calls, to make phone calls, to talk with y'all, to squash this shit, and y'all motherfuckers right back to the same shit. Bitch, that's why I don't argue with motherfuckers. That's why I don't fuck with people on YouTube. That's why I stay the fuck to myself, because this is how it always is. Motherfuckers act like you owe them something, like you are indebted to them, like you gotta do what they say do. Bitch, who are you that I gotta make the material that I gotta say what you want me to say? I flip-flop. When the fuck do I flip-flop? I ain't flip-flop on shit. I never spoke on gin until I did my motherfucking research. That's what everybody else needs to do. Y'all need to learn to do research before you have a fucking public opinion. I waited months. I'm just now covering a story that's almost a year. They've been covering this shit last year. I'm just now catching up. Because I wanted to be thoroughly educated and informed before I made my statement. Period. Like I said, I have my own thoughts about gin. I have my own thoughts about this story. So it took me a long time to process the information, to have conversations with people, to read documents, to put the story together. And I know what I know. I know what I know, and I know what I'm reading in the motherfucking documents. And ain't nobody gonna have a $20 million fucking lawsuit against them and let this bitch win by default if they was not harassing her. Please, please, please. Miss me with that shit. I was not born yesterday, okay? I was not born yesterday. So you guys, this has been another edition of the Sweet Pea Diaries. Another receipt, another nasty, dirty receipt, another court doc show. If you guys want more shows like this and you have other lawsuit cases that you want me to cover, if there's other documents that you want me to go and find and we do them together, go over them together on a live, just send me an email. You can email me at sweetpeadiaries@outlook.com, sweetpeadiaries@outlook.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at sweetpeadiaries with a Z. Send me a DM or an email letting me know what you want me to cover, and I will be more than happy to do that. I do requests all the time. I just did the Frighttober about the neighbor with the monkey noises. That was a request from one of my subscribers. So I'm always taking requests. I'm always doing material that people want. This is you guys' channel. I do this for you. You guys are the only ones that can dictate what kind of material we cover over here on this channel. Okay? Not no goddamn other content creators. Only the subscribers. All right? So you guys, this has been another edition of the Sweet Pea Diaries. I got to go, y'all. I'm out. Bye.